Now it's time to discuss creating a virtual network switch for client Hyper-V, which will determine what resources each VM connected to that switch will be able to access. The key decision points here are: how many virtual switches do I need? What type should they be? The choices being external, internal, or private. Do I need to implement any traffic or security restrictions on the switch or switches? And do I need to perform any monitoring of that traffic? So we'll discuss each of these decision points in turn. Microsoft is going to help us out with the how many decision. You can only have as many virtual switches as you have physical network interfaces on the host machine. Note, however, that a wireless interface does count as a physical NIC. The type of switch is an important decision, so you want to understand what the terminology means because it's not entirely obvious. In an external switch type, the VMs can see each other, the physical host, and the external network to which the physical host connects. In an internal network, the VMs can see each other and the physical host, but not the external network to which the physical host connects. So no wider LAN or internet access for the VMs in this scenario. Finally, in the private switch type, the VMs can only see each other, not the physical host and not the wider network to which the physical host connects. As far as traffic and security restrictions, Windows 10 lets us implement something called DHCP guard, whereby any possible rogue DHCP server lurking in a VM will not be permitted to dole out IP addresses. Hyper-V will simply drop those packets. We can also implement a VLAN ID if we want to control traffic in a VLAN, although be aware that that requires support in the virtual switch, the virtual network adapter, and the physical switch to which the physical host connects. And we can set up port ACLs via PowerShell to limit traffic via access controls. If I want to set up monitoring, I can do that too. The lingo is port mirroring, and it lets me send all inbound and outbound traffic to a separate VM dedicated to monitoring. Okay, let's create a virtual switch and connect our engineering VM to it. So back at Hyper-V Manager, if I want to create a virtual switch, I can simply come over to the Actions pane and choose Virtual Switch Manager. My initial decision is going to be which type I want to create because I do want connectivity to the broader network. I'll select External and create Virtual Switch. We'll give this a name. We can choose which network on the host to connect this virtual switch to. Probably the wireless is not the one we want. So let's pick the gigabit network connection. I think that'll be happier. Here's where we could set up a VLAN ID if we wanted to use that feature. Now, Hyper-V Manager warns us that making this change may disrupt the network. We'll say, okay, I'll deal with that if it happens. And we now have a virtual switch created. I'd like to connect my engineering VM to that virtual switch. So there's my engineering VM that I created earlier. I can choose Settings. And notice under Network Adapter it shows Not Connected. So we can select that, come up here to the right, and now we have something to connect it to, our external switch.